Before we begin today's video, I would like to give a shout out to two of our newest subscribers, Papa Monday and Mr. Finners. You know, I just now noticed this, but these two profile pictures are rather ironic considering today's video topic. Anywho, thank you both for subscribing, and welcome to the family. Now, get your cauldrons ready, grab your black cats and giant hats, 'cause I'm about to put a spell on you. A while ago, the YouTuber known as Ginny released this video on the Artificer, saying how they don't need to be steampunk in order to be able to be played in Dungeons & Dragons. And the reasoning she gave actually made sense. And she even explained each one of the different subclasses and tried to make it sound reasonable for any Dungeons & Dragons campaign. So I thought I would go ahead and take a look at what she was talking about and build my own character concepts based off of those ideas that she presented. So I'm going to go over each of the 4 subclasses and make 4 builds based off of those basic ideas that Jenny presented in her video. 2 of them I've already completed, so you will be seeing both of those videos within the next couple of weeks. This video being the first in that series. And I decided to go with a multi-class of Wizard and Artificer, and you'll see why that is when we get into the build. But I also wanted to take a look at the idea of a character concept that Ginny thought would be hilarious to play as, and that was a toy maker. And I think that would be a fun build to cover later on down the line. The only one that I think is going to be tricky to do is going to be the Artificers. You'll have to stay tuned for that video to see why it might be tricky to go with the Artificers with this concept that Ginny has brought up. But with that being said, let's take a look at today's video, the Witch. Pretty simple concept, really. We are making the classic fairy tale witch. Not Dungeons & Dragons hags, which are based off the same concept, but more along the lines of the Barovian witch from the Curse of Strahd setting. These witches are based similarly to the witches found in the era of the Salem witch trials. Individuals who would make potions, cast some spells that they learned from their Dark Lord, and maybe munch on the flesh of children. That part wasn't clear. I think that was mostly just fear-mongering, part of the fairy tale stereotype. But the main 2 concepts that we're going with here are the potion brewing and the spell casting. And well, I have come up with a rather good solution to that. So let's go ahead and get started with the point-buy system for our stats. Our strength is going to be a 10, dexterity an 8, constitution and intelligence will both be at a 15, wisdom's going to be at a 10, and charisma is going to be at a 13. For the purposes of this build, we are just going to go with the human variant. This will increase our intelligence by 1 point, as well as give us a +1 to our charisma. We get a free skill, we're going with deception. And we also get a free feat, the Ritual Caster. This will give us access to a spell book full of rituals that can be found in one of the select classes. Personally, I would recommend the Druid, but you are going to find more rituals in the Wizard spell list. So that will probably be your best bet if you're looking for a wide variety of spells to be collecting. So yeah, for that I would say go with the Wizard, though Druid would fit more with the theme of the witches. Speaking of themes, we are going to need our background to be the Hermit. As stereotypically speaking, the fairy tale witch is going to be out in the middle of the woods in some form of rickety old cottage. So it makes perfect sense to go with the Hermit, giving us access to proficiency in medicine and religion skills, with Tour being the herbalism kit, and your languages being one of your choice. Personally, I would go with Infernal to try to tie into the sort of demon-worshipping aspect that some of these witches were stereotyped as. And let's be honest, having some form of Dark Master is probably where you got that book of rituals for your ritual caster feat. For your features, you get Life of Seclusion and Discovery. Moving on, we are starting off the build with the Artificer. This will give us a 1d8 hit die and starting hit points of 8 plus our Constitution modifier. At higher levels, you will get an extra 1d8 plus your Con modifier per Artificer level after the first. For your proficiencies, you are proficient in light armor, medium armor, and shields. And you are proficient in simple weapons, as well as thieves' tools, tinker's tools, and one artisan tool of choice. I think brewer's supplies will be perfect for this build. Next is your saving throws. You are proficient in Constitution and Intelligence saving throws. As for your skills, we are going to pick up Arcana and Nature. You also get access to magical tinkering and a spell casting ability which uses your intelligence modifier. Next, level 2 Artificer is going to give us our infuse items. I would recommend the following item infusions. Replicate your Hat of Wizardry, which is a common magic item. According to the infuse item text, you can instead replicate a magic item of common rarity. That's why we want to go with the Hat of Wizardry, which, by the way, can only be attuned by a wizard, which is why we decided to go with that Artificer Wizard multi-class, which we will be taking a look at here shortly. The next item is going to be Replicate Alchemy Jug. Another one that you'll be picking up is Replicate Bag of Holding, so you can have all your spell ingredients inside there, as well as your multiple spell books that you will be collecting throughout your journey. Another good one to have is Replicate Goggles of Night. At level 3 Artificer, we are taking up the Artificer Specialist of Alchemist. This is our potion brewer. You get proficiency in your alchemist supplies, your 2 alchemist spells, which will be added to your spell list automatically and will not count against the number of spells that you can prepare, are Healing Word and Ray of Sickness. You also get access to Experimental Elixir, and just for being a 3rd level Artificer, you will get the right tool for the job. Now for our multi-class into Wizard, you'll get a d6 hit die and extra hit points equal to 1d6 plus your Con modifier per Wizard level. You get a spellcasting ability with your Intelligence modifier, and you get access to Arcane Recovery. At level 2 Wizard, you get your Arcane Tradition. There were plenty of good options out there for a Wizard. Probably Conjuration or even Enchantment when it comes to the old crone that lives in the woods and lures children to her cabin to try to turn them into a stew. But I felt that the Order of Scribes would fit the witch the most, especially when it comes to gaining access to more spells, which we are going to need at some point. Probably commune with other witches and trade recipes or something like that. Anyway, you'll get access to your Wizardly Quill and your Awakened Spellbook, which makes your spellbook sentient. and able to do a couple of different things. Later on, I believe it will be able to project a hologram of a face, which could be interesting. Honestly, the idea of the Awakened Spellbook just gives me the vibes of Hocus Pocus's book, the Sentient Spellbook. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to level 4 Artificer. Go ahead and increase your dexterity by 2 points. At level 4 Wizard, we are going to increase our intelligence by 2 points. At level 6 Wizard, we get our Manifest Mind. This is where our sentient magical book is able to project a hologram of itself, and you are now able to cast spells through your manifested mind, as if you had casted them from that location. So, pretty useful. At level 5 Artificer, we now get access to Alchemical Savant, and we get access to 2 more spells from the Alchemist spell list, Flaming Sphere and Acid Arrow. At level 6 Artificer, we get access to Tool Expertise. We now get a double our proficiency bonus when we make skill checks with our tools, which is definitely useful. At level 8 Wizard, we're going to go ahead and max out our intelligence, making it a 20. Level 10 Wizard is going to give us access to the ability Master Scrivener. And level 12 Wizard will normally get access to a ability score improvement, but I wanted to grab the Chef feat instead. This probably could have been picked up sooner, but I went ahead and did it now. This will give us access to increasing our constitution by 1 point and give us proficiency in cook's utensils, as well as being able to make short rests a little bit more manageable. As part of the short rest, you can cook special food, provided you have ingredients and cooked utensils on hand. You can prepare enough of this food for a number of creatures equal to 4 plus your proficiency bonus. At the end of the short rest, any creature who eats the food and spends 1 or more hit dice to regain hit points gains an extra 1d8 hit points. With 1 hour of work, or when you finish a long rest, you can cook a number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus. These special treats last 8 hours after being made. A creature can use a bonus action to each one of these treats and gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. So, honestly, pretty useful feats to have on this witch build. And finally, at level 14th Wizard, this one's actually negotiable. You probably could go a level 8 in Artificer instead, but I went with the 14th level Wizard for that one with the Word ability, which honestly is pretty overpowered for a Wizard. This almost beats out the War Mage in power. But anyway, that is the end of the build, but not the end of the video, as we do have spells to go over. These are the spells that I would recommend picking if you were to go with this build. You do not have to pick these spells exactly. This was just some thematic purposes that I felt would work. Anyway, for our Artificer spells, we have Acid Splash and Mending for our cantrips. Our first level spells are going to be Alarm, Catapult, Cure Wounds, Disguise Self, Snare, and Tasha's Caustic Brew. For our second level spells, we have Heat Metal and Lesser Restoration. For our wizard spells, in the cantrips we have Gust, Infestation, Mage Hand, Sword Burst, and Toll the Dead. First level spells, Cause Fear, Charm Person, Find Familiar so you can summon your Black Cat, Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Shield, Silvery Barbs, and Sleep. At second level we have Blindness and Deafness, Dust Devil, Earthbind, Flock of Familiars, perhaps a bunch of ravens or crows, and Hold Person. At third level, we'll go ahead and grab the spells Bestow Curse, very stereotypical of the witch in the woods to curse individuals who have wronged them. Clairvoyance, Erupting Earth, Glyph of Warding, and Major Image. 4th level, we have Black Tentacles, Charm Monster, Fabricate, and Polymorph. Turn one of those meddling kids into a frog. At 5th level, we have Animate Objects, Control Winds, Dominate Person, and Infernal Calling. There might be a point in time where we need to summon the Dark Master who helps us gain our spells in the first place. Or maybe it is to return a favor to our Dark Master. At 6th level, we have Disintegrate, Flesh to Stone, Mass Suggestion. Perhaps you sing a song to a group of children to try to lure them into your witchy lair. And also Programmed Illusion. Maybe you went out for a minute and wanted to leave a message to anybody who stopped by for when they asked for your services and something went wrong. Like some princess was having a bad day and wanted to get back at their mother and now they want to undo the spell. Maybe something like that. And at 7th level, we have Finger of Death and Prismatic Spray. And with that being said, that is the end of today's video. What did you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And what type of builds do you think I'm going to come up with next? Until then, this has been Drehan, and I am offline.